We'd only be gone a tiny bit, Sis coaxed. No. Then you go, Sis said suddenly. I'll stay. Edmund lifted his head. Alone? Somebody has to. Nothing will be open. That saloon on Wickenden keeps night hours. They might have something there. Auntie says it's a wicked place. Oh, Edmund, Sis cried. Auntie Prue isn't here. We have to do for ourselves, and if you won't, I will. For a long while, Edmund said nothing. But when he saw a tear trickle down his sister's cheek, he drew himself to his feet. From his pocket he took out a key. I'll go on one condition, he said. I'll lock the door once I'm out. That way no one but me can get in, and I'll feel better about leaving you. Edmund, really? She said as she pressed the half-dime into his hand. Nothing will happen. You'll be only a few moments. I'll run both ways. And Edmund, Sis said, drawing the blanket more tightly about her shoulders, if Auntie does come back while you're gone, I promise I'll say it was all my idea. I'll say I hounded you out. You may tease, Edmund said solemnly, but it's not right to leave you alone. Sis tried to keep from smiling. Mustn't worry. I'll be a perfect lady and sit quietly reading Hansel and Gretel again, and I won't ever stop until you come back. There. Does that make you feel better? Before he changed his mind, Edmund went out the door. Once in the hall, he put the key in the lock and turned it. The door's locked, he called. And I'm safe, he heard her say. Now, just hurry. Clutching the key in one hand, the coin in the other, Edmund scurried down the steps. In the cold outside, not a soul stirred. Decrepit buildings 3 and 4 stories high appeared to teeter over broken sidewalks and narrow, muddy streets. The stench of garbage thickened the dismal air. The only light was the occasional blue blur of candles behind dirty window panes. Edmund kept telling himself that it was wrong to leave Sis. Hadn't Auntie warned that this city was full of danger for them? But then, they did have to eat. And Sis was right, Auntie was always saying things were dangerous. Oh, why was it so hard to know what to do? Because I'm young, Edmund answered himself. Grown-ups know what's right. Then he thought, if only I were older and a real man. An aching isolation filled him. Where was Auntie? What could have kept her away so long? When no answers came, he bucked himself up to be brave, then began running. The saloon on Wickenden Street was a small, dirty place reeking of soured rum. 2 low-burning oil lamps shed dim light, and in the corner a rusty iron stove offered more smoke than heat. The only decoration was a hodgepodge of posters and public bills on one wall. 2 tables meant for customers were deserted. But behind the counter was a burly bear of a man. Bearded, he wore an ill-fitting dinner jacket and a tilted stovepipe hat on his head. A pile of old newspapers lay before him. Edmund made his way to the counter. The man looked down. "Yes, boy?" he said gruffly. "What do you want?" "Please, sir," Edmund whispered, "I'd like some food." "I've meat pies," the man growled, "and bread. How much money do you have?" Edmund put down his coin. After studying it with a baleful eye, the man scooped the coin up. From below the counter he pulled out a loaf of bread, cut it in 2, wrapped 1/2 in a sheet of newspaper, then handed the package to Edmund. "There you are," he said. Edmund's heart sank. "Is that to be all?" he asked. "You're lucky to get that," the man told him. "Thank you, sir," Edmund mumbled, relieved that he had at least found them something. He raced out. He was still running when he turned into Ann Street. "Here, boy!" came a cry. Edmund stopped and looked about. Across the way he saw what appeared to be a very old man. He was quite bent over, covered with a coat and scarf which he'd wrapped around his face against the cold. Only his eyes and white hair could be seen. One hand held a cane. "Would you help me, boy?"